What's up, Cody?
What's up, man?
Well, oh crap, we already have a comment. Rats by Fitty. Dadgum, man. He doesn't waste any time. What's up, Matt? What's up, Matt Briggs? Thanks for joining. Rats by Fitty.
It's pretty good, man.
What? Rats by Fitty winning the division back to back. What you mean?
Exactly. What's worse, being the team with the Rats or being the team that lost to them?
To be fair, we do have a city in the state of Florida, mouth rat. Boca Raton.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Boca Raton. It's the mouth of a rat. I'm not sure why or where that comes from.
Oh, is that really what that means?
Yeah.
That's insane.
La boca is mouth, and raton is rat in Spanish.
That makes sense. So San Francisco, you know what that means?
What?
It's Spanish for a whale's vagina.
Nope. San Diego.
San Diego.
It's San Diego.
San Diego.
Anchorman?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Man. Okay. All right. We're getting some comments in, so let's go ahead and get started. Because it's like a 5-second pause.
Right.
For editing purposes. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Jacksonville Jaguars Fan Battle podcast. I am your host, Matthew Grieve, and my co-host joining me is Cody. Cody, what's up?
Cody Cold Gaming.
The Cody Cold Gaming. CCG.
Jags by Fitty all day.
Matt Briggs, for those that are listening and not watching the video, our first comment comes by way of Houston Texans Fan Battle host, Matt Briggs. His comment says, Rats by Fitty. That's all I got for that. And then our second comment, do you think he got paid too much? Who is he? Max Brady. Max Brady is a commentator for the Tennessee Titans on the AFC South Fan Battle podcast. Give it a listen. Who are we talking about? Were we talking about somebody in particular a few minutes ago?
No. Nothing go.
Oh, it's Calais Campbell. Duh.
Oh, really?
Wow, what a great segue, everybody. So, yeah. So, Calais Campbell. So, the past few weeks, we have been, the Jaguars Fan Battle podcast has been on Calais Campbell watch. You want to take it away for us, Cody?
Yeah, man, the watch is over. Let's just say it like it is. The mayor's not coming back to the city. Arthur blank check wrote a good one for Calais, and I think it wasn't by much more than we could have paid him. I think what happened was, according to the rumors, he and Arthur had a couple conversations about stuff that could have happened outside of sports, and I think that there's a future for a media personality with Calais Campbell, and not just like local, not just for Atlanta, but a mainstream media gig. And Arthur could open up those doors for him for sure. And I don't feel like we offered that to him here. He was a local celebrity to us more than just the production on the field, but like outside of it. He gave one of the best Duval chants, and he did it very often. Showed up at a lot of radio shows and events, and his face was there all the time in the city, which is why he got the moniker the mayor. So I feel like he could do that in Atlanta. In Atlanta is a bigger market, man. Let's be honest. They're making a lot of Hollywood movies and stuff there. You have Arthur Blank or whatever. It's just buku money. Let's be honest. So it was more of a business decision, I feel like, and I'm not mad at that. I know we get like Jaguar fans get a bad rap or whatever, as like being salty and stuff like that, but not this time. For me, at least.
Yeah. My personal take on Calais Campbell going to Atlanta, kind of like you, good for Calais. Would I have liked him to be a Jaguar this year? Obviously. Not just because of what he's done in the past for us, but what he still, I think, has to offer not only on the field, but off the field and in the locker room. Not to say that our defense is missing some sort of veteran voice. I think we have a pretty cohesive, um, very positive environment on the defensive side of the ball. But adding Calais Campbell would have been huge. Not to say that we don't, not to say that we don't need him, but no, we didn't. We'll find a way without him. He got his money. From what I understand, Jaguars weren't willing to offer as much to him as what the Falcons ended up coming in with. How's that sound?
It's still
Still
still a little
muffled.
bit. Okay, right there when you
Is
said
that
it's
better?
still. Yeah.
Is it still muffled though?
No, you're good.
Okay. Do I think he got paid too much? I don't think he got paid too much. I think he paid more than we were willing to pay. Um, Especially for Atlanta, they're in a situation where the Jaguars are usually sitting in, and that's where they have to overpay for talent. Um, which is nice not to be in that situation. Unfortunately, I feel like Atlanta is. They're in a building phase. In fact, I don't even know what kind of phase they're in. It's kind of weird. Atlanta's kind of weird because they have talent, but then they don't have talent, and I feel like they're not completely all in on rebuilding their team. Which, even though it's something that they need to do, Brown Chubby Bear in the chat comes in saying, "And now the watch is over." Sounds very Game of Thrones esque. Well,
I was actually going for that. That's pretty cool. You picked up on it.
nice. Yeah, the watch is over. So, um, I don't think it's a big loss. What do you think?
It shows the need for what we have, and we could feel that in the draft with a younger guy, and hopefully get similar production. Calais is on his way out, and this is his a 1 year deal with the Falcons. He would have made a 1 year deal here. Um, that doesn't fix our problems long term. The draft does. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay. So, I don't really have any other comments for the Calais Campbell watch now that it's over. I hope he does well. That's all I got for him. Moving on next, in a bit of rare off-season news for the Jacksonville Jaguars in free agency, we have signed a backup offensive lineman by the name of Josh Wells. If that sounds familiar to you, Jaguar fans, or other AFC South fans, it's because it does sound familiar. He was with the Jaguars a few years back for several years, and um, it wasn't very memorable. It was memorable in the fact that he was on the team, but it wasn't memorable on his production. For the past few years, he's been "quote unquote" the number one backup on the offensive line for the Buccaneers. Um, do with that what you want. Being the number one backup, I don't know, but it adds depth to a team that I guess we do need some more depth on the offensive line. I'm not sure what he adds to our scheme, being that this is a completely different regime from when he was on the team previously. So we'll see just a body. Nika989 in the chat says just a body in reference to Josh Wells. Yeah. I kind of think that's where we're at with our team, adding depth bodies. What about you? What do you think, Cody?
He had an injury that if you I'm gonna warn y'all, it's hard to watch. His knee did something that a knee is not supposed to do. And to come back from that and still be a backup. I mean, if that happened to me, I would probably still be bedridden. but he got interviewed by some Jaguars personality that you could barely hear her. It was weird. I don't know. It's like right on the field. You would think that they had more. They should hire us anyway. She asked him who his favorite offensive lineman was, like of all time, and he said Tyler Shatley, and he said that was his buddy. So there's some chemistry there. Um, that that could add value to the locker room. It, to say he's just a body or whatever, I would tend to agree. Um, but I feel like those people that we've had offensive linemen go down in previous seasons with nobody that we knew, coming up behind, and to have somebody that has chemistry with the other players on the same line as him, maybe he does something. All he has to do really is just let Trevor throw the ball. I mean, it's a hard job. Yeah, I agree, but we don't have like we play in this division. I don't see somebody that like there's not a Miles Garrett. You know what I mean? There's not somebody that's like scary and big and bad coming at you. Like every other team in our division is rebuilding to the point where you're just going to grab somebody in the draft at the value position because you need everybody. And you know, just a body makes a difference in those types of situations.
Yeah. I think it's worth to note that he did finish last year on the IR. He suffered a torn left patellar tendon,
Right.
week 16. So we'll see how that impacts his return this upcoming season. I don't think it'll affect the way that we draft. If we were going to go offensive tackle, I don't think this says we're no longer going offensive tackle. I don't think that it moves the needle either way. I did read somewhere, I think it was interesting. They said it adds depth, yes, and it provides a higher floor, not necessarily a higher ceiling for offensive line, but a higher floor at a super weak spot for us. So I think in my opinion, I think as the offseason and the season wears on, we're going to really start feeling the pain of losing Juwan Taylor. Although I'm glad we didn't pay that stupid money that he got. Good for Taylor to get what he got. I mean, you can't hate the guy for it. But was he worth getting paid money that to go play a position he doesn't even play? I don't know. That's a whole nother story. um, so I think that's that on that move. There were a couple other moves that you wanted to talk about. I'll let you take that.
So we have Cam Fleming uh, visited with the Jaguars, a 9-year vet. He's 30 years old. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion with the Patriots. He was there for the I should have handed it to Marshawn Lynch Seahawks, and they would have won, and Cam would have been a 1-time Super Bowl champion. For the second Super Bowl, it was the Falcons blowing the lead. So if he's visiting there now, that means they're trying to like handle some sort of O-line situation now. It doesn't, like you said, it doesn't mean that they're going to not draft an offensive lineman. But I don't think they're going to take one early now. Um, and that's if like they do grab somebody like Cam Fleming in the free agency, because it's like how many we got Walker Little, like Ron said. How many offensive linemen do like as far as like backups or whatever? Are they just preparing for this seasons? Like Cam Robinson's going to be hurt, or Juwan Taylor's going to be hurt. Like that's happened in the past, and then it's just next man up or whatever, just to get those people in there, like you said, bodies, or is it like let's just roll with these guys that we have, whatever, and we could train up a young pup coming up in the draft that we catch on like 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. Ron in the chat says Walker Little is going to be fine. I agree. I think Walker Little is going to be fine. He's got some seasons under his belt in the big leagues now. I think he'll do just fine rolling into the spot. But as far as depth, I think it's super important. Kind of like Cody said, we've had issues in the past with injuries. We're not the only one.
Right.
There are every team goes through it, right? So We need solid depth. We need not just depth, but we need competition at across the line. If you're not competing against one another, what motivates you to do better? Like you should have motivation to do better, but everyone knows that a competition brings the best out in somebody, right?
Right.
A legitimate competition. Nika comment section says our online backups are members of AARP.
That's hilarious. I mean, 30, and that's like considered like ancient in the NFL, man. But it's like I'm 34.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can I could probably play a couple downs. I don't know.
Um, but I don't think that I think even if they were to bring in Cam Fleming, I again if they were going to go with an offensive lineman in the draft beforehand, I think that these moves wouldn't change that. Do I
Right.
think they're going to go with offensive linemen? I don't know yet. I haven't done enough research yet. That's for a future show. Um, Plus, we're so used to drafting so high. It's always a quarterback or the number 2 defensive lineman in the draft. So drafting so low is going to take some work on my end. Not used to that. Um,
I think you got to get those guys, man. You got to like Trevor Lawrence is our future, and we got to protect him.
right.
So it, it would be for the positions that we need. It was like with the team that we had last year versus the team that we're coming into this draft with. Um, there's not that many holes that need to be filled with the picks that we have. It seems easy to me to just grab what we need out of this and work with what we got, and we could do. I think that we could win the division again for sure. Um, Brown Chubby Bear, that question. I like this.
Yeah, sorry. Brown Chubby Bear from YouTube chat says, "What are your expectations for Trayvon Walker this year? Are y'all viewing him as a semi-bust, or do you have hope he'll eventually be great?" So if you've seen any of my podcasts in the past, you will know how I feel about Trayvon Walker and how. Well, let me put this first. I'm sure Walker is a fantastic human being. I'm sure he works really hard. He's a good person. Um, Yada yada yada. I hope he becomes the next first ballot Hall of Famer. All that good stuff. Um, but if we could go back and redo the draft again, he would not be my pick. Even after this year, it would be Aiden Hutchinson. With that being said, if he can clean up some of his not minor but very major mistakes that he made last year in the backfield as far as the penalties go, I think that'll do great for him. I don't think he's a semi-bust just yet. I think um, we need a few seasons. I think Taven Bryan was an absolute bust.
Yeah,
He's part of that random Florida pipeline that we somehow have for horrible players. C.J.
Dante
Henderson,
Fowler.
Dante Fowler, yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm not going to say he's a semi-bust just yet, but being that he was drafted number 1 overall, which isn't his fault, he does have the target on his back, and if he doesn't, put up double-digit sacks the next few seasons, I would consider him a semi-bust. I know that he does affect other parts of the game across the line. He does a lot of things that don't show up on the stat sheet. But
yeah,
there were a lot of games last year where he didn't show up on the game at all. Like if you just watch the game, someone will say Walker, and you'll be like, "Oh wait, yeah, Walker's on our team. I forgot." Same with Josh Allen. He does the same thing. They'll disappear for some time. So I hope he does better this year. My expectations for him is to show up more, more on the stat sheet. And I'm not looking for 10 plus sacks. I'm not looking for double digit sacks. I'm hoping for it, but I want to see him more around the ball, more effectiveness around the ball, and that could look like many different things. What about you, Cody? What do you think?
yeah, man. You pretty much hit the nail on the head. There's only like so when you're looking at somebody in his position, it's tackles and sacks, and if you're not making those, especially if you're the first pick of the draft, it wasn't. I don't know where he ended up, like on the scoreboard, but He was either mid or low. As far as like other players that came into the draft in the same position. So yeah, that doesn't. It's like cause and effect, and it hurt because we're looking at with the watchful eyes of a Jaguars fan, and a lot of people, they see the name, they hear the draft number, and they see like how good the team did or whatever towards the season, and they think like, oh, he's got to be doing amazing. And it's like he hurt us a couple of times, and those things like mattered more to us, as a fan, and that's why we're called the fan battle. We're just fans at the end of the day, not real sports analysts or whatever. But so yeah, I'm talking about more from the heart. I just wish I would have seen more out of him, especially me being a Georgia fan. To see a dog go out there and not be a dog,
Yeah.
that hurts. But then I had Tyson Campbell to make up for it, so we're good.
Yeah. My issue with him, and I've talked about this previous season, is I understand that he may possibly fit the system better than Aiden Hutchinson would have, but here somebody had posted something. Ron, he had said, "I don't know why you pick a project first player overall. That's my problem." And that's my problem too. You're picking number 1 overall. Who knows how long it's going to be again until we have that opportunity. If Aiden Hutchinson doesn't fit your system, you make him fit the system, and you make your system fit him, because although he might be a one-trick pony, he's a damn good one-trick pony, and he's good at what he does, and he showed that this past season. But if that's not the case and you don't want to do that, that's fine. Trade out of that position to draft somebody that is, I think, a project first player. And that's not because he's not talented, but that's just because what Georgia asked him to do. I mean, the guy was one of like 15 studs on that defense. It was nuts, the Georgia team that they had out there. So he wasn't asked to do so much. So he did random things. I think he's a super freak. I think he's super talented physically. And I already said what I hope he does this year. So
he only had 1,000 plays under his belt when he got drafted, and then people usually do like 1,000 in a year. Like they would swap out like every so often, or whatever, just to keep the other teams guessing.
Yeah, that defense was ridiculous.
Yeah, Georgia is so loaded, it's insane. We're definitely the new dynasty, but I'm gonna ask you this question, and I don't know. Like, do you think sometimes like why don't we just go 3-4? Like a lot of these guys seem like they would fit that scheme better. And,
yeah, I agree.
And Trayvon Walker is definitely a 3-4 linebacker.
Yeah, excuse me. I agree. For those kind of questions, I've kind of stopped that in my head, because the coach is going to do what they feel is best, which
right.
Sucks, I guess.
Yeah.
Again, I would have drafted Aiden Hutchinson, made my system fit him, or I would have just traded out of the pick. So, Nika989 says, hopefully not another Taven Bryan pick. I understand why they did it. They just picked the wrong guy. Taven Bryan, speaking of the guys back in the division, we talked a little bit about this last week, but I'm still flabbergasted. Yes, word of the day, flabbergasted, that Taven Bryan not only is still in the league, but is getting paid millions of dollars to not be good at what he does. I know he put up a couple sacks last year, but I'll be excited this year to see when he gets in our backfield and has no idea what to do. It'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, I was just checking to see if Dave Caldwell was still in the front office. He's not. He's gone. So, yeah, those Taven Bryan decisions or whatever yeah, that's in the past. Thank
CJ
God.
Henderson, all those. Man, it's like I hate looking back on the Jacksonville Jaguars history of drafting. Remember, Geno Smith was like, "Hey, Florida State Community College, they have a guy that plays football, right? Let's draft him. He's from a small school. That might work out." Remember those days?
Yeah.
They just would be like, let's go to this really small school and find that diamond in the rough. Bro, just I'd rather you pick somebody off the the scouting team from Alabama. Here we go. Ron, yeah, I'm hoping Walker does a lot better this year. Ron, this is for those that aren't watching the video. Ron is another commentator from YouTube says, "Yeah, I'm hoping Walker does a lot better this year. Maybe we pick Brian Branch with 24 when the opposing quarterback doesn't have an open guy and makes our pass rush better." It's true.
Cecil Shorts.
Cecil Shorts. Eka989 says Cecil Shorts. I like that guy.
Yeah,
I like
man.
him. It still was part of an era that was blah. But I get it.
The nostalgia I have for that era is way better than the feelings that I had in the stands.
Yeah, it's true. A lot of really good comments about the draft, potential draft picks. We are actually going to be saving our draft commentary for the upcoming weeks because I feel like that those are going to take up entire shows. And so stay tuned for that. Please show up for those shows in the next few weeks. We'll be covering the draft and all the goodies that surround it. Okay, so on to the next note that we have here. You had put an interesting stat up.
Interesting stat. Oh, I don't have that pulled up. Can you just read it?
Okay, so Cody, in the pre-show, had mentioned Trevor is the youngest quarterback to throw 4 or more touchdowns in the playoffs, surpassing who?
Dan Marino.
Dan the Man Marino. He's all right. Wasn't he all right, I think?
Yeah, it's okay. The Jacksonville Jaguars actually posted that. And it's one of those stats that's like, it doesn't sound true, but here we are. And that's an amazing feeling after coming off of like so many years of disappointment with Blake Bortles and Gardner Minshew. So that kind of solidified it for me, like as far as like how I feel about Trevor Lawrence. I know we were talking a lot last year about like, is he all the hype? Like is he that guy and all that stuff? Yeah, he's him. He's him.
Yeah, I got a question. This kind of takes us off track a little bit, but it's relevant. So, and we'll talk more about this in the upcoming draft, but draft shows. You had mentioned we need to get offensive linemen that are good to help keep Trevor Lawrence upright.
Right.
I feel like Trevor Lawrence is good enough on his feet and moving in and out of the pocket and commanding the pocket that we don't need an all-star offensive lineman or offensive line.
Right.
Like, if we were to trot out the offensive line that we have right now, I wouldn't be upset. Of course, that's if we utilize the picks that we have and the cap space for free agents in an effective manner in other parts of the field. Because I think his legs, and we've seen it, I mean, his legs extend plays, whether he runs down the field or just rolls out and throws an awesome pass for a completion to one of the Jones and Jones brothers.
Marvin's
I guess
not
we
here.
lost.
Yeah, Marvin's smart.
No, so but that's saying that if as long as we utilize those resources in a productive manner elsewhere.
Right, which is why I said like when Josh Wills was just a body, like he's got a buck for Trevor Lawrence. I mean, it's like, yeah, he's talking about like a couple seconds. Yeah, that could happen.
So speaking of Jones brothers, wide receiver Marvin Jones, former Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver Marvin Jones has signed back with his former team, the Detroit Lions, on a 1-year, $3 million contract. What do you think about that, Cody?
Feels very DJ Shark-esque. Same team. Marvin was my second least favorite Jones. Zay hurt my heart a little bit more. He dropped some passes that Marvin Jones caught some that were like in the same styling, So it was like I feel like he's one of those guys that he's he's going to go play for the Lions, and he's going to be on the receiving corps. But we need somebody that's just a step above that. And I think we pick up one of those guys in the draft easily. This draft class is stacked for wide receivers.
Yeah, I agree. And I think not only with the stacked draft class, I think Trevor Lawrence is one of those quarterbacks that makes players around him better.
Right.
And I looked up real quick here. Marvin Jones had 529 receiving yards and 3 passing touchdowns. Or receiving touchdowns, my apologies.
Okay.
And that put him on 4th on the list, and 1 just above Travis Etienne. So sad to see him go, just because I liked him as a player on the team, a person of the community. No ill will at all about him going back to Detroit. It was nice, when we brought him in. It was I think it was super clutch when they did bring him in, because he was a veteran presence to kind of calm the wide receiving core that's been horrible for so many years.
Right.
And now, we lose Marvin Jones, but we infuse Calvin Ridley. I'm okay with that. And good on Marvin Jones to be able to go back to a familiar place. And Detroit, they actually had a pretty decent season last year with Jared Goff at the helm. So I'm sure he'll do well there.
Yeah, do you remember them playing us?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like one of the lowest points of the season.
That was like the last game that we lost, right? Though before.
Oh yeah, everything turned around. That was the month. It was October when we didn't win a game at all.
Yeah.
And then November we didn't lose one. So
yeah,
it was a huge turnaround.
Thank you, Marvin Jones, for your service to Jacksonville. It's very much appreciated. I hope you do well in Detroit, as long as it's not against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I was just thinking about how was he targeted that much? He was usually the go route. Trevor Lawrence still working out his sea legs and stuff, trying to throw into the slot more often. So and then Calvin Ridley taking over that spot. Yeah, it's going to be plug and play, and night and day difference. So
yeah, we're going to get younger and faster with him, but Marvin Jones was good for what he did, though.
Right.
It was weird, though. I remember last year, Marvin Jones would kind of, I don't want to say disappear, but you wouldn't hear his name. Then all of a sudden, he would catch this random field flipping catch.
Yes.
That would make a huge impact on the game. So
yeah,
I'm sure he still has plenty left in the tank to provide for Detroit. Staying on the wide receiver train, I found this interesting stat on Twitter. Warren Sharp on Twitter provided a list for the most expensive wide receiver rooms in 2023. Coming in at first were the Rams at $52 million, the Cards at $51 million, Broncos at $42 million, Raiders at $42 million, and the Jaguars coming in at number 5 with a $39 million wide receiver room for 2023. Now that's going to change obviously with the draft and whatever changes we might make, but that's interesting. I think on that list of the top 5, I think we probably have the better wide receiving core of the top 5. What do you think? The Rams have Kupp, right? That guy's ridiculous. Cardinals with Hopkins. From what I understand, Hopkins is probably not going to be part of the Cardinals.
Hopkins and AJ Green,
who were both great years ago. Well, I think Hopkins probably still has something to offer, but the Broncos, Jerry Jeudy,
Cortland Sutton,
and the Raiders. Oh, I guess they have Devontae Adams,
and they got Keelan Cole.
Okay,
yeah,
I'll let you have that one.
I swear, man, one of the most spectacular catches I've ever seen in my life came from Keelan Cole. But they got Devontae Adams and Keelan Cole, whatever, and I was just thinking about I got to watch a couple of those games, man, especially with Garoppolo throwing to them. There's some of the most amazing catches I've ever seen coming from those two people. So that's not to hype them up too much about what we got. I mean, D Hop and AJ Green. If you're going on namesake, whatever, yeah. But you got Kyler Murray throwing to them, and they're getting up there. Russell, let's ride Wilson.
Broncos, let's ride.
What was he doing on the plane to England? I think it was. Oh yeah, he was doing like the workout.
Yeah,
Oh
in the aisle or something.
yeah, dude. I don't understand how a guy could be so like cringe.
Full of himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, cringe is so perfect. um, yeah, out of those top 5 teams, I think the Jaguars are sitting pretty. I think out of the top 5, you'd be like, yeah, the Jaguars, they make sense. Everyone else, I mean, I guess the Rams again. Cooper Kupp is just so good.
Cooper Kupp and A Rob.
He didn't do so much last year though. I think he was
Yeah.
injured, maybe.
And then they have Van Jefferson and Brandon Powell, two Florida names.
Potential. They still have potential. I don't think they've reached it yet.
Yeah, for the Gator fans out there.
It's what a difference, right? The Jaguars from a couple years ago, where D.D. Westbrook and Keelan Cole, sorry, our wide receiver room wasn't there, and now we have one of the top. I think one of the top 5, not just in contract, but I think in talent, one of the top 5 receiving corps in the National Football League.
It's strange that the Bengals, like their wide receiving corps is good, but they're just not paying that much money because I guess they're on a rookie contract. But yeah, they're going to be up
T.
there.
Higgins and Jamar Chase.
Yeah, they're going to be up there soon. And that's who I feel like we're competing with, like because that's who we got to go after to get to the AFC Championship.
That's true.
Yeah, them and the Chiefs.
That's true.
So,
yeah, I mean, the AFC South, the other AFC South teams. I mean, I guess we have AJ Brown on the Titans, right? A Super Bowl caliber wide receiver drafted by the Titans. They have him at least, right?
It's funny every time.
Every time. It brings so much joy to my soul every time that I mention the Tennessee Titans. Yeah, hey, you fired your GM or whoever made that move. It doesn't matter. AJ Brown is not there anymore. And Traylon Burks, your potential AJ Brown, is there. So it just feels, I get all the warm fuzzies every time I talk about AJ Brown not being on the Titans. Michael Pittman for the Colts is pretty good. I think he still has potential.
Yeah. Who's their quarterback?
Gardner Minshew, they signed him, but he's still 10 years away from when he can start for the Colts, I think. He's not old enough yet.
He's not old enough, yeah. Yeah, so
Texans?
it's probably going to be like Will Levis.
Well, the Texans just traded away. Who was that wide receiver that they traded away? Their best wide receiver.
Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, he's traded away. So
yeah.
So now I think they have. Was it the guy that they drafted last year? I think. Yeah, exactly. We have the number 1 wide receiving core in the AFC South. Battle me with that.
Yeah.
Ron from YouTube comment says, "Yep, AJ Brown being traded and the Shaq Quarterman hit on Henry, 2 highlights. Love it. Yes. What a great season. What a great season, guys."
I forgot about the Trevor Lawrence, the hit stick. That picture is iconic, man. I'm gonna get that and put it on the wall somewhere in here.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. What? Anything else about the wide receivers you want to talk about?
No. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna start playing Madden. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I like it. So one last thing that we've written down here. For those that know, are like close to me and know me, I'm really big into sports memorabilia collecting. Cards, helmets. Like this right here is a signed jersey or signed helmet by Trevor Lawrence. I got a Blake Bortles signed jersey hanging above me. I'm really big into sports memorabilia. And one of the bigger companies in the game currently, as far as sports memorabilia and sales right now, one of their employees flew out to Vegas over the weekend and placed a bet that a $55,000 bet that the Jaguars will win the AFC South this upcoming season. If that happens, his $55,000 bet will win him $36,000. And people will say, "Well, that's a lot of money to not win very much." I don't know what kind of investment you have where you can put $55,000 down and 9 months later make 36,000 profit. But if you know, please show me. So I don't know, how confident are you, as confident, Cody, as this guy was?
Let's see. If I had the money, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And like, it's not just because talent on the field; it's talent on the sidelines. It's how our organization is set right now. Like, watching, it's like the only ivory tower in a burning world. It's like we're watching the Colts nation, the Texas nation, the I forgot what. Oh, the Tennessee nation. Watch them just burn in flames or whatever, and we're sitting pretty for once. Man, it feels so good. It's because it was the opposite for so long. You know, they were watching. Oh, look at that dumpster fire in Jacksonville. And it's like, yeah, we know. Shut up. We'll fight you in the stands.
Yeah.
That's about all we had.
Yeah.
But now we're winning on the field too. so yeah, man, I'm confident, not cocky, but I would do that for sure.
So thinking about it,
Would you?
so thinking about it, right? Like, you got to think about it. So what would be the worst case scenario? Trevor Lawrence goes down. CJ Beathard stands up. I still think we would still be the favorite to win the division, as currently situated for the South, AFC South. Now, if CJ Stroud or Bryce Young or whomever the Texans pick, or
Can you knock on wood for me?
say again.
It's like, can you knock on wood for me?
Oh, right. um, say they one of those quarterbacks, somehow they pick him and he lights the world on fire. I mean, it would have to be perfect scenario for us not to win the division. I think, even with Trevor Lawrence going down, I think we have so much talent across the board on both sides of the ball. I think with Trevor Lawrence though going down, I think our offensive line might look a little bit more suspect. But that's about it. I know our pass rush has needs some assistance, but I think even if Trevor Lawrence were to go down, I think we'd still be the favorites to win the AFC South. So if I had $55,000 just burning a hole in my pocket, would I be willing to do it? Heck yeah, man, I would. But I don't even think I have $55 to bet on him. So
You could bring in like Cam Newton on a 1 year, like mid season or whatever. I would do it.
I don't know, man. Scam Newton.
Yeah, whatever.
Is Mark Brunell available?
Is it still my money being bet?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So
Mark Brunell, is he available? That's funny.
yeah, that guy, he's not even that big of a Jaguars fan. So he's more of a Trevor Lawrence fan. I don't want to. He's a fair weather fan. I know this. I don't know this guy personally, but I follow his company, and I know that they're more fair weather fans. If Trevor Lawrence flames out, he's just going to move on to the next big thing. So let's see. We have another comment from Ron. All the Jags got to do is jag, and we don't win. We only won the division by a scoop and score in the last play. I mean, we won by a lot more than that. It's not just one play; it's a whole season.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying, Ron. I get what you're putting down. I pick up.
It does appear to be luck was on our side, at those moments. But that's not luck. That was his job. He did his job.
Yeah. Well, and if you look at last season, how many games that we lost were just a couple plays away from us winning?
Right.
That was us, and that was also the Baltimore Ravens. That's why I called the win against the Baltimore Ravens.
Which is why the Walker penalties like hurt seeing. It's because like if he doesn't get those penalties, we potentially win games that we should have won.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It,
So
it, if Zay catches a couple more passes or whatever, then we, there's one less L in the column. So
yeah.
that's how it felt from a fan's perspective.
Yeah. Well, we're at a 45-minute mark on a boring week. Once again, we've talked our brains off. Any last words from Cody Cold Gaming?
So I'm thinking about doing like the AFC South rebuild on Madden, and we go live on Twitch. So yes, just follow me and make sure you see those when they come out.
Nice. So everyone who has Twitch, go to Twitch right now and go to Cody Cold Gaming. And if you have Amazon Prime, well, I don't know, can people subscribe to you yet?
Yeah.
Oh, they can. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, use that Prime. If you have Prime, you have a free subscription to your favorite streamer on Twitch, and that could be Cody Cold Gaming. It's free to you, and it helps out his venture. So,
All right, you know more about this than me.
say again.
So you know more about this than me.
Yeah, I've dabbled in Twitch a little bit.
I'm gonna be honest, guys. Like on my last live stream, my mic wasn't on the entire time.
Oh no!
It was super embarrassing. I watched it back and like see myself like, and
Oh no!
nothing's coming out. Yeah,
Dang.
I'm getting there. Man. I'm not there yet, man, but we're getting there.
Practice makes better.
Yes.
So, the only thing that I have is everybody, please go down below. You see that ticker across the screen? It says fanbattlesports.com. Please go visit the Fan Battle Network. All the shows are on there, including ours. The Houston Texans. Every team in the AFC South has a show on there. We would love it if you just went by, checked it out, listened to some shows, leave some comments. And please follow us on all of our social medias. We are still in the middle of rebranding, and we're almost there, and we're super excited to get it rolled out. Be on the lookout for that here in the next few weeks. We're going to be doing a lot of big things, including giveaways, and hopefully celebrating another AFC South division dub, I guess.
Yeah.
But other than that, be sure to tune in next week for same time, same place with the same fools. And appreciate you guys joining us tonight, and have a great week.
Take it easy.